Welcome back to Counting Thoughtz podcast. I am an Anmol.
I'm Yasha. Hi people. And this is Counting Thought podcast. We come here to count thoughts on the spectrum of big and small thoughts. All this to bring change one thought at a time. Today we're going to discuss hedonic adaptation, as you might already know.
Yeah. Why are we specifically discussing hedonic adaptation
in January is because this entire month we've sort of revolved around that mindset of, new year, new me. We're treating January as a checkpoint where you can look at things from a different perspective. Discussing hedonic adaptation is one of those attempts to give you a better perspective. Let's just specify no pressure. Because the shift of mindset from money mindset to happiness mindset is happening currently. This sort of gives us a good window to discuss hedonic adaptation. Why? Because the concept of hedonic adaptation is studied by positive psychology researchers and many others who focus on happiness and well-being. If there is a technical term that is attached to this particular idea. Right? So this is that.
Quickly let you know what hedonic adaptation is. So hedonic adaptation, also known as hedonic treadmill, is the observed tendency of humans to quickly return to a relative stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative events or life changes that happens throughout. So it's insane how we humans get used to the good and the bad, and
when cheese goes down you are very, very happy in life. Either ways you feel nothing can top this. ऐसे इससे बढ़िया कुछ नहीं या इससे घटिया कुछ नहीं. So for instance, like this is actual research.
So if something bad had happened to, let's say, one of us, or something good had happened to one of us, within 1 year what you need to realize is it will pass and you will reach back to your normal self emotionally and mentally. Immediate question is happiness really in our control?
ये सबके दिमाग में आता. This means that we're doomed. क्योंकि मतलब अगर
you cannot stay happy forever is what you assume.
है ना, ऐसा मतलब किसी के भी दिमाग में आएगा. Because ultimately the chase is like you want to be rich because you want to be happy. You want to get a car because you want to be happy. You want to get married because you want to be happy. Ultimately, like left, right, center, you're doing all this because you want to be happy.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, 50% of our happiness really depends on our genetics. So it's actually out of your control.
What?
Yes. And 10% of it is affected by your circumstances. So if you were born rich, if you were born poor, if you were born with a certain extraordinary skill set, जैसे कि बचपन में बोलते हैं ना, God gifted बच्चा है. Like if you're born that ways. So that leaves 60%. But the remaining 40% is actually under your control.
And I actually truly believe that.
So now, since you have an idea कि 40% हमारे control में है, you have to understand that happiness derived from certain things may dissipate more quickly than happiness derived from other things. जैसे कुछ चीजें होती है that done for pleasure. I like coffee. The joy that will come from drinking coffee or chai, like वो Indian अदरक वाली चाय, will last me आधा घंटा, 1 घंटा.
Right.
ऐसे छोटी छोटी चीजें, मजे का गाना सुन लिया, ऐसे दोस्तों के साथ नाच लिया, ऐसे चुटर पुटर
little things, yeah.
Little things these are called pleasures technically. The happiness that you derive from such things lasts you for a smaller period of time. There are things that you do that will last you for a longer period of time. So for instance, when you practice gratitude,
right,
or when you get into a state of flow. So ikigai पूरी दुनिया ने पढ़ लिया है, पर दुनिया के पल्ले नहीं लगी है. मैं बता रही हूँ, मतलब Ikigai is about flow. Ikigai is a very complicated Venn diagram. If you are able to understand that diagram, it's the essence of life. But then वो सबके पल्ले नहीं लगती है. But we're not discussing Ikigai here. When you do things that put you in a state of flow, जैसे कुछ hobbies होती है.
Like my brother, he enjoys making his own comic books and making his own art. So there are things that brings joy to you and you're aware about it.
जैसे write to make you understand better short term or long term joy कैसे आता है. So I write for a living. I do academic writing and I do creative writing. So academic writing is for
professional
side of things. Yeah. But then true gratification that comes to me from writing is when I write poetry. When you practice hobbies, when you practice gratitude, when you practice hobbies, like they put your brain in a sense of gratification.
Yeah.
So once you start practicing those things, तो क्या होता है, जो तुम्हारा average level है, जो तुम्हारा basic level of happiness था, वही increase हो जाता है. Basically, you're trying to uplift your baseline.
Yeah.
Then an introduction was given to you, so that you're
able to relate to it as to what's the basic idea of it.
To answer Anmol's question, yes, you cannot be happy forever. बेसिकली hedonic adaptation का मतलब ये है कि आप नॉर्मलाइज कर, कुछ बुरा होता है तो हम उसको भी नॉर्मलाइज कर देते हैं, कुछ अच्छा हो रहा है तो हम उसको भी नॉर्मलाइज कर देते हैं.
Does this mean that we should practice gratification over enjoying the pleasures because it's going to bring long-term happiness?
So this is another question. A lot of people, even I had this question in mind. Okay, if a cup of tea will just bring me happiness for a short period of time, then why invest in that? Why not just invest in building a new skill,
increase your skill set or something,
increase my gratification for a longer period of time? But then I realized कि कभी-कभी, because life keeps happening, you have to factor in that also. अगर समय ही एक प्याली चाय का है तो फिर यू डू एक प्याली चाय, बट देन अगर समय है गार्डनिंग का 4 घंटे एंड पॉटरी का 2 घंटे, तो देन यू डू पॉटरी एंड गार्डनिंग. सो आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट making conscious effort to raise the bar of your normal, so that when something good or bad happens, you bounce back to normal. Ultimately, it is that. There are some proven ways to increase your general level of happiness and reduce hedonic adaptation. What we can do is we can share them with you, and you can pick and choose. And
whatever you think might work for you. One being, be sure your life includes several pleasures, and because you cannot keep one point of happiness, so you should keep several pleasures and try to plan for them throughout your day. Just say for Yasha, getting a cup of coffee pleasures, you can aim to organize your day intentionally, including them, so that intentions is the catchword here.
Yes, so you don't have to feel pressured. ऐसा बहुत जमता pressure
करने की जरूरत नहीं है, but
pressure नहीं लेने का. I'll go out and get myself a Starbucks. Monday could be that. Tuesday is like Tuesday I call a friend. So maybe Anmol can schedule time for cartooning or painting or whatever. Say, I read somewhere that most creative artists, any art form, they fail because they wait for creativity to come to you, because that is actually something that happens. There are singers who say that sometimes songs come to you as if there is a heavenly body that just sends them and you don't have to put in any effort, and 10 minutes mein you have a perfect song.
Yeah.
And I can vouch for it. ऐसा कुछ हो. This has actually happened to me. So I wrote a poem, the QWERTY keypad, which is the keypad that we use. The crux of the poem is that so if you look at your keyboard right now, so we are as close as you and I. When people read it, when my publisher read it, they were like, whoa, what are you thinking? And I'm like, I cannot repeat this. I don't know how
it's momentarily.
It is momentary. Yes. I am forgetting the name of, he's a writer only. He said that if you keep waiting for creativity to come to you, you will never be able to create as much as you would have created in the first place. You have to schedule in creativity also. So, and that intention is there because I want creativity to become a habit. I don't want my creativity to be an accident. I don't know how other people work. I don't pressure myself with the result.
And we should intentionally put time for those hobbies in our schedule.
बड़े loyal तरीके से.
Because I think you need to have a certain sense of discipline to do that, because I certainly don't have that kind of discipline and I'm aware about it. So if I know that spending time with so and so individual, because I'm a very social person, I know it's going to bring in a lot of happiness to me.
She does this for this she has that discipline.
But life keeps happening.
But Anmol will figure it out.
But I will figure it out, of course. When you're able to figure this out, you're also growing as an individual. in 2023, if you want to, see yourself grow as an individual, and see your happiness grow, see things that brings you happiness grow, what you have to do is so that is something you need to learn over time, that the results are not in your control. Investing in your growth, that is something that is in your control. So job कर सकते हो,
वो करो. So the second way is rotate your pleasures so that they feel new, because a lot of people say that like that schedule sort of puts them, like saturates them, because you same ही चीजें repeat होती रहती हैं, right? So it sort of takes away that fun from it. Say suppose if you go for a walk, maybe today you take your dog for a walk,
or you change the path probably,
or you change the path of your walk. Little things like this also make a lot of difference. I have a friend, she has like she's a morning person. She has a different morning routine for summers, and she has a different morning routine for winters. And summers में she's looking forward to the winter wala routine, and winter में she's looking forward to summer wala routine. But then it sort of works for her.
Yeah.
So maybe you can do that also.
Because my nani used to always tell me that every day when you wake up, irrespective of how you're feeling, you can always choose
to be happy. Technical term for this is to savor your positive experiences. Like whatever, and she is a master at it. Like कुछ भी अच्छा होता है, she clicks a photo, फिर ऐसे बाद में फोटो दिखती रहती है कि ओह ये भी तो हुआ था. By clicking pictures, by sharing those pictures, she savors that moment.
I don't ignore my emotions, but I do at least one thing that I know is for sure going to make me feel
happy. I think one this is therapy advice, but this is advice. Keep a journal. Personally, I don't keep a daily journal. I think when I feel overwhelmed, I write a letter, like randomly. I will write a letter. So I treat those letters like a brain dump. Whatever clutter there is in my brain, I will dump it there, and I tend to forget कि मैंने डाली.
I could never do that. I have this fear that someone is going to read it, and I am very much aware that there are parts of me that are very private, and
sharing those parts is called vulnerability.
I know who to share this one, because when you're vulnerable, you don't want to feel judged. So journaling would be difficult for you.
जैसे तुम्हारे साथ issue है vulnerability वाला. A lot of people write. Why I say this? Because being vulnerable is when you have a trauma that you haven't processed, but you're willing to share, and you're still processing it, and you're still figuring it out. Those emotions need to come out somehow. And writing is one way to recognize those emotions. At the same time, sometimes understand also. If you also have a similar fear like a no, write and tear it away, throw it away.
All in all, you can keep a track of your happiness levels. Probably listen to our episode on hedonic adaptation, probably research about it, and see how you can work through it.
There are free tests available online that you can take, and that they basically give you a rough number कि ऐसे 10 में से अपनी hedonic adaptation 3 पे है, या 10 में से अपनी hedonic adaptation 5 पे है. Like if you want to quantify your level of happiness, you can take those tests.
So whosoever is listening to our podcast, whosoever is going to listen to this episode, you need to understand that this is something you might be practicing, but you were not aware about.
We wish you happiness for the rest of the year, and we wish after listening to this episode you are a little bit more aware about your happiness levels, and you can put in efforts to increase your baseline of happiness and be happier in general.
Yes.
So here's to happiness, yours, ours,
and everyone else's. So thank you so much for listening.
Bye.